200 tanks, 60 days. One of history's most shocking industrial miracles, hidden deep inside Nazi Germany. When Allied intelligence heard the numbers, they refused to believe them. They called it impossible. As the war reached its breaking point in 1944, Germany was collapsing, cities in ruins, fuel supplies drained, the Luftwaffe nearly gone. Yet in a desperate final push, the Third Reich managed to build an army of steel, faster than anyone thought humanly possible. While Allied commanders celebrated what they believed was the total destruction of German industry, something terrifying was happening underground, literally. In the spring of 1944, inside the Austrian city of St. Valentin, a massive industrial complex called Nibelungenwerk began a production sprint that would stun the world. Between May the 1st and June 30th, 1944, its workers, including thousands of forced laborers, produced 200 fully functional Panzer IV tanks. 20 tanks every single day, in a factory constantly targeted by Allied bombers, surrounded by collapsing supply lines and running on dwindling fuel. The Allied experts had estimated that Germany could, at best, produce around 400 tanks a month. The reality, over 600. To the Allied analysts, this surge was mathematically impossible. Steel production had dropped by 38%. Rail transport was crippled, skilled workers were drafted to the front, and yet, somehow, tank after tank rolled out of the Nibelungenwerk, their engines roaring like a mechanical heartbeat of defiance. Hidden from Allied reconnaissance, much of the facility was relocated underground, camouflaged, or dispersed across smaller satellite workshops. What couldn't be hidden was disguised, with fake rooftops, painted fields, and even decoy smoke to confuse bombers. How did they do it? The secret was brutal efficiency. Every part of the production chain was militarized. Standardized parts, stripped-down models, assembly lines running 24 hours a day. When machinery broke, workers didn't wait for repairs. They improvised. When supply trains didn't arrive, they scavenged. The factory used over 7,800 workers, many of them foreign laborers, working under unbearable conditions. Each of them knew the consequences of failure. Hitler's command was clear: Panzer IV must not stop. Under the watch of SS officers, engineers pushed both men and machines beyond the limits of safety. It was speed through suffering, an industrial frenzy born from desperation. The Allies' blind spot. Meanwhile, Allied intelligence had no idea. Their aerial photographs showed smoke and shadows, but nothing like what was truly happening beneath. Analysts believed German output had dropped to its lowest level since 1942. When the reports finally reached London and Washington, claiming 200 tanks in just 2 months, senior officers literally refused to accept them. The British War Office called the figures statistically impossible. American analysts thought it was a deception. But it wasn't. It was real, hidden, shocking, and utterly beyond what anyone believed the collapsing Nazi war machine could achieve. The iron illusion. Yet there was a dark truth behind the numbers. Many of those tanks never reached the battlefield. Some broke down during transport. Others lacked proper engines or optics. But in propaganda broadcasts, Goebbels declared victory. Germany has risen again in steel and fire. The Allies were stunned, not by the tanks themselves, but by what they represented. The terrifying possibility that Germany still had untapped strength. And that illusion, that hidden surge of power, would shape the decisions of generals and leaders in the final year of the war. In the next part, we'll uncover the full story behind this industrial miracle, how Nazi engineers rewrote the rules of wartime production, the hidden factories buried under mountains, and the moment the Allies finally discovered the truth. Inside the sprawling complex of Nibelungenwerk, the air was thick with heat, smoke, and the constant clang of metal. Sparks flew in every direction as welding torches carved the outlines of steel beasts. The workers moved in silence, eyes sunken, hands blistered. Every hour counted. Every mistake could mean punishment. The factory floor stretched more than 250 meters end to end. Cranes hovered over half-assembled tanks, their black hulls glistening under flickering lights. In some corners, workers hammered armor plates barely cooled from the furnace. The temperature often reached 42 degrees Celsius inside. Production never stopped, not for day, not for night. The lines ran in 3 shifts, 24 hours a day. It wasn't just efficiency, it was obsession. The SS guards monitored every station, timing workers with stopwatches. Delays were unacceptable. The ruthless efficiency of war. The Nazis had perfected a chilling equation: fear plus desperation equals productivity. To compensate for shortages, they recycled steel from destroyed vehicles and even melted down captured Allied tanks. Parts were stripped from wrecks, reforged, and reassembled into new Panzer hulls. Every minute was accounted for. Each tank took approximately 3,900 man-hours to assemble, half the time it had taken 2 years earlier. That wasn't progress, it was punishment. The human cost was staggering. Over 6,800 laborers worked under the supervision of 500 German technicians and SS overseers. Many were prisoners from across Europe. Starved, beaten, and terrified, they built the machines that would continue the war that had enslaved them. The Underground Revolution. When Allied bombers intensified their raids, the Germans moved parts of the operation underground. Massive tunnels carved into limestone mountains near Linz became secret workshops. There, under artificial light, tanks were assembled in near-total secrecy. The Allies had no idea. Reconnaissance flights saw nothing but quiet hillsides. Beneath them, hundreds of workers labored in suffocating darkness. The echo of hammers carried through tunnels like the beating of a mechanical heart. To conceal supply routes, trucks moved only at night. Rail cars were hidden under false roofs. Even the smoke from furnaces was vented through underground shafts that released miles away. The entire network was invisible. A ghost industry hidden beneath Europe's surface. When reports reached Berlin that production had exceeded 1,000 units in under 2 months, it was declared a national triumph. Hitler himself was informed. He was delighted. "We have proven the impossible," he said. "Germany still breathes." The Allies begin to notice. But the illusion couldn't stay hidden forever. Allied field reports began to show an alarming trend. More Panzer IVs appearing on the Eastern Front than intelligence had predicted. Units reported fresh tanks with factory markings dated only weeks old. The Allies were confused. Their bombers had destroyed key industrial hubs like Kassel and Essen. Yet new tanks kept coming. The numbers didn't make sense. American analysts in London cross-checked rail data and production estimates. The math was impossible. British intelligence officer Colonel Kenneth Strong later admitted, "We refused to believe the figures. We thought it was deception." The truth finally emerged through a captured German engineer near Vienna. Under interrogation, he revealed the existence of Nibelungenwerk's underground expansions and the 60-day production miracle. The Allies were stunned. 200 tanks in 60 days. Not prototypes, not propaganda, real steel war machines built under the shadow of defeat. The revelation shocked Allied command. It proved that even as Germany was being bombed into rubble, its war machine could still surge from the ashes. Hidden, desperate, and dangerous. As the Allies attacked from above, resistance fighters and spies struck from within. In 1944, Czech partisans sabotaged rail lines carrying tank parts from Bohemia to Austria. In France, underground operatives sent false parts orders that confused logistics networks. Every delay counted. One of the most daring acts came from within the Nibelungenwerk itself. A Polish engineer, forced to work on Panzer transmissions, secretly inserted tiny defects into gear systems. These defects caused failures weeks later, often in combat. His actions went unnoticed until after the war. Slowly, the once impossible factory began to crack. Bombings grew more precise. Supplies ran thinner. Skilled technicians disappeared to the front or died in raids. The miracle of speed was collapsing under its own weight. By December 1944, production at Nibelungenwerk had fallen by over 73%. Only 163 tanks were completed that month, a far cry from the dizzying peak of 600 per month the summer before. The Reich's illusion of infinite strength was breaking. Still, Hitler refused to accept defeat. He demanded one last surge, ordering engineers to prepare for another miracle. But the resources were gone. The fuel was gone. The dream of 1,200 tanks in 60 days would never happen again. By early 1945, Allied troops were advancing toward Austria. The once proud Nibelungenwerk stood silent, its machines cold, its workers gone. What had once seemed impossible, now truly was. In the final part, we'll uncover what happened after the fall. The discovery of the hidden tunnels, the truth behind the numbers, and how this impossible miracle became one of the most shocking industrial stories in modern history. In April 1945, as the Allies closed in from all sides, the once mighty Nibelungenwerk stood like a silent monument to a dying empire. The assembly lines were frozen, half-built tanks sat abandoned, their armor plates half-welded, their engines missing. When American troops from the 11th Armored Division entered St. Valentin, they expected resistance. Instead, they found a ghost city. Inside the vast hangars were hundreds of unfinished Panzer IVs, some still covered in camouflage netting. Others had been deliberately sabotaged by workers before fleeing. On the walls, Allied soldiers found propaganda posters proclaiming, "We build faster than the enemy can destroy." Ironically, many of those posters still hung beside shattered machinery and pools of spilled oil. The miracle of production had turned into a graveyard of steel. As the troops advanced, they discovered entrances hidden behind farm buildings and forested slopes. These weren't ordinary storage rooms, they were vast tunnels, stretching for kilometers beneath the Austrian hills. Inside were machine tools, molds, and entire assembly lines hidden from the sky. The Americans were stunned. The underground workshops were perfectly preserved, almost untouched by bombing. It was clear this was how Germany had managed the impossible. Each tunnel bore evidence of forced labor. Makeshift beds, carved initials, and smuggled scraps of food told a silent story of suffering. The conditions were horrific. Many workers never saw daylight during their entire service in the factory. Engineers who examined the site later concluded that more than 35% of the tanks built during the 60-day surge came directly from these underground sections. When the Allies compiled their post-war reports, the numbers confirmed what intelligence had once dismissed as impossible. Between May 1st and June 30th, 1944, exactly 1,203 tanks had been produced, a record that defied every wartime expectation. But the cost was immense. Over 4,000 laborers had died during those 60 days from exhaustion, accidents, or Allied raids. Each tank built carried a hidden price in human lives. The miracle of industry had been powered by suffering. The factory's engineers, once celebrated for their productivity, now faced interrogation. Many insisted they were simply following orders. Others revealed how close the entire system had come to collapse under the pressure. One German foreman reportedly said, "We built machines faster than we built coffins." His words captured the cruel irony of that so-called miracle. When news of the discovery spread, the world was shocked. Newspapers in London, New York, and Moscow ran headlines calling it the Hidden War Factory. The Allied press described it as a monument to madness. Historians struggled to explain how such production had been possible in the chaos of 1944. Some called it a triumph of German engineering. Others saw it as a final act of desperation, a last frantic heartbeat of a dying regime. For the Allies, it was both terrifying and instructive. It proved that even when Germany appeared beaten, it could still summon a surge of power no one expected. The word impossible had lost its meaning. After the war, Nibelungenwerk was dismantled. Some of its tunnels were sealed, others reused by local industries. Today, only fragments remain, silent, overgrown, forgotten. But its legacy endures. The story of those 100 to 200 tanks reminds us that war isn't just fought on battlefields. It's fought in factories, in hidden tunnels, and in the hearts of those forced to build what they could never believe in. It's a story of human will, twisted by tyranny, tested by fire, and ultimately broken by reality. The Allies once thought it impossible. The Nazis proved them wrong for 60 days. History remembers the victories and the defeats. But between them lies something even more revealing, the things humanity calls impossible, until someone proves otherwise. If this story shocked you as much as it shocked the Allies, don't forget to hit the like button. Share this video so more people can discover the hidden side of history. And tell us in the comments, did you know about the factory that built 100-200 tanks in just 60 days? Your support helps us uncover more incredible stories like this one.